Historic District. I will call this meeting of the Historic District Commission to order at 7 p.m. And I will seat Goodrich and Kohler as regular members or full members. Would you mind reading the call?
Sure. The Historic District Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, Election Day, 7 p.m. Groton Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road, virtually via Zoom platform to hear the following applications requesting a certificate of appropriateness. The first one is HDC 250025 3 Fort Rachel Place, Susan Pruzek, applicant owner, addition to deck 2618063945909. Second one is HDC 250026 26 West Mystic Avenue, Cheryl Bolu. Hope that's okay. Applicant owner, fence pin 2618052814119. Third one is HDC 250027 3 Pearl Street, Vincent Peugeot, applicant Pearl Street Capital LLC owner. Pin 2619183170086. The Zoom meeting link will be posted on the town's website, meetings calendar, applicants on file, and available for public inspection during normal business hours at the planning department, 134 Groton Long Point Road, Groton, Connecticut, on the 8th day of April 2025, Groton CT.
Thanks. I'm going to waive the hearing procedures. If anyone wants to read them, there's a yellow copy right over there. Jump right into public hearings. HTC 25-0020 1 Water Street. I'm guessing there's not Peter is looking hot here.
I think this was this was a continuation. You guys were just looking for some specs. Did he provide them? If I'm not mistaken, is that what it was? He's not.
This 1 Water Street.
He was waiting for a DOT.
Oh, no,
It was the
this
DOT.
is different. This is Boost Bowls.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. This is not his.
He was waiting for DOT approval before, and he was gonna come back,
Okay.
because it's like.
Gotta go into the sidewalks there,
Right,
patio.
the pet, right.
Losing their hand on it. Don't recognize any of the names. You want to skip over that for the moment and go on to the next one on the agenda and
See if
see
he comes
if
in.
he shows up or zooms in?
Yeah, you can,
Okay.
you can just press one. HBC 25-00253 Water, 3 Fort Rachel Place.
Not up here, anywhere either.
Hold on for that one, sir. HDC 25-0026 26 West Mystic Ave has been moved to May 6th. And then HDC 25-00273 Pearl Street. What are you all here for?
They're here for a free app.
They're for free, yes. You're
on up.
Pearl Street.
Pearl Street, come on up. All right.
What are you?
We're gonna be out of here. I could have gone out to dinner.
You don't want to continue with
Quickly got moved to the front.
All right.
Hello,
State your
everybody.
name and your address.
Vincent Peugeot, and my personal address
Yes,
or the address of the store.
both.
3 Pearl Street, Mystic, and 77 Villa Avenue, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Eric, can you just swing your mic over? Sue said she can't hear anything you're saying. Sorry, thank you.
All right, so present to us what you would like to do.
Sure. I just want to put a sign where the previous tenant had a sign, so it's already, the hanging thing is already there.
So there's a camera, if you look right above, If you put it right where,
No,
No, just leave it on the table.
put it right next to the.
There you
ground.
go.
There you go.
And that's what the sign is gonna look like. And here are the specs from the vendor that I sourced for it.
Right on, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Nice.
Want to slide that mic over or forward a little bit, so you can get your document.
To the left.
Picture.
To the left. Sorry.
That's all right. Everybody has a hard time figuring out working backwards. Just do it
No,
with
that's
your-
not gonna work like this.
Yeah, move the mic.
Doing a
There
good
you go,
job.
yeah, all right, all right, we're gonna get
There you
there.
go.
There you go. Perfect.
We're gonna get there, there you go.
You're an expert at it. Hold on.
Wonderful. Oh, cool. We're doing wonderful times.
Oops, across from. Do you
Oh.
have anything else, or?
Well, what I was told to, I'm gonna be,
Wow.
I guess, limitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in quick. I don't have any issues with the sign. I don't know if it came for a pre-app or anything. I just have an issue with the size. It's 40 by 50, which is like almost
4 feet by.
3/4 of a sheet of plywood.
And I took the size of I actually took measurement of like the sign that was across the street at the Irish pub.
Yeah.
And the parking as well, and the side that they
Yeah.
have.
I don't know that I was in favor of those at that point either. I would just be in favor of shrinking it down. Like 36 by 36, 36 by 40, something along those lines. Just give it a little bit of. I know it's not much, but
I'm with you, so we've got signs before. I've measured the signs down there and they're all about 36 by 40, so I think that's more in keeping with the size of the signs on Main Street anyhow. I know you're off. Main Street, but I do, that's a pretty big sign.
if you just, in my opinion, just scale it down a little bit. Unless. Fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Are you asking the applicant to consider shrinking it? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sure, yeah, no, that work. So you see you got 40?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Do we have an issue with it not being consistent with the signage that we just approved last month for the vape shop being an oval, being on the same building with the same hangar? Do we have an issue that this is actually rectangle?
No, so we've in the past approved, like, if you look at the main block building.
Yep.
Those are all different shapes and sizes. I just. It may be fine. To me, it just feels like a large,
it's a scale.
it feels
I
like
agree.
almost,
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
so if we're. Just trying to make them a little more reasonable and equal, I don't think the shape. In fact, I would encourage people to be creative with them. I think it's cool. Like, I think the signs.
I mean, do we want a different type of hanger then? As
Well-
this is an arched hanger,
I think the hanger's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay
But-
with.
you're fine with that?
Yeah. I would just think if you brought it down
Yeah,
6 inches, scale it down 6 inches, I think that would just get it to be a little
we're
more.
gonna be cheaper too, so.
There you go.
There you go.
Saving your money.
Exactly, exactly.
Public service.
Yeah, so if you just said no more than 36 by 40.
Yeah, I think I actually have like another proposal from those guys at a different side, because my friend who actually did the sign, like, made a few different mockups. Not sure what the exact size is on the other one, but I don't think it's 36 by 40, but yeah, I can. So
So.
I'm
if-
good with the 36 by 40, so what do we do from there?
Yeah, so if we made a stipulation to your. Application that
Uh-huh.
the sign cannot exceed 36 by 40, you'd be.
Yeah.
Okay with that.
Well,
Yeah,
you can just, do you mind modifying it to no more than 36 by 40?
Yeah.
And then we'll just vote.
How do I modify it?
Just tell us you're okay with it.
I'm very okay with it.
Okay,
Do it as a condition of approval.
Yeah.
You do it under consideration.
yeah,
Then you're gonna get.
So
that's like,
Hey, real quick, that brings up a good point. If you look at the sign that's up there, how far are we gonna have to hang this down to clear? Is it a square? He's gonna have to hang it, otherwise it's gonna hit the hanger. It's gonna have to come down a ways, cause see, it's got the same curve,
And the both
the bow.
yeah, I know what you're saying now.
I'm assuming the hangar belongs to the building and not
Yeah.
the tenant, right?
Mhm.
how many bricks is it? It's a great question. Can you count? Some just count from that top of the window.
I'd say 6.
No, just from there, yeah.
Roughly 15 or 16,
At 3
Six-
inches.
60 inches,
just 45 inches.
3 inches plus a half-inch bond.
Yeah,
It's like 45 inches.
so if it's no more,
No
it should be above the window.
Oh, yeah, I don't want it
Yeah,
below the window. It's not gonna be pretty.
So
Okay, so-
did you see his picture?
Yeah, just,
Okay.
so you show,
So
yeah.
your goal is to keep it above the.
Yeah, I don't want it like below the window, it's no.
Yeah.
So let's
It's
just
gonna be
say
terrible.
no bigger than 36 by 40, not to be below the window.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
that's it. Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, so I can get it like made, and that's.
We're gonna vote on it probably now.
Okay.
If no one else is here.
That's right, like, it's my first time, I don't know.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, is it, is the shop gonna be or your photography or someone?
Yeah.
else? And it's just all different photos or?
No, so I take pictures of like people's eyes and I
Oh,
make them into like artwork.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
You should come by.
Something new.
It has nothing to do with the.
We're
application.
opening, like, we're doing like the ribbon cutting, I think it's May 13th.
Yeah. All right.
All
Oh, fine. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, gentlemen.
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
So am I hearing from you
In
next?
in
or-
about
Wait,
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 7.
Thank you.
Actually, I don't
Thank you.
think it's gonna be that, because nothing's changed up on the board, so.
I'm gonna close the public hearings. If someone comes back, we can
You
reopen
can,
them.
yeah. you can-
So
sure.
I'll close the public hearings and move on to consideration. Oh, I'm sorry. Does anyone in the audience have anything to say in support of his sign? Anyone against his sign? Okay, HDC 25, I lost it. 25-0027 is closed. So I'll close the public hearings and move on to consideration of public hearings. And the only one we have is HTC 25-0027. This is the sign. I will make a motion to approve so long as the sign is not bigger than 36 inches wide by 40 inches tall. And the sign is not to go below the top of the window.
Got it.
I second that. I second Ferguson seconds that.
All right, all in favor?
Ernst, favor.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Goodrich, aye.
Polar eye.
You're approved. Thank you.
so much.
I will make a motion to continue HDC 25-0020, HDC 25-0025, and for the heck of it, HDC 25-0026, even though it's moved to May 6th. Unless for some reason they show up in the next 20 minutes.
It's fine. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Ernst, eye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Goodrich, aye.
Polar eye.
Pre-application. Who was here first?
We're all together. We're all together.
Okay,
Oh, really?
come on up.
So just
You guys all wanna come up? and
Well,
sit
that
and
was my-
Talk and have a conversation, we'll bring some chairs.
I was
up.
gonna say, that was
Yeah.
my question. Logistically, do you all want to come up and sit before or?
I didn't mean to just bring one up.
I'm gonna introduce
Okay.
for a couple minutes and then turn it over to our.
If you want to get involved.
All right.
Nope,
Yep,
you're
you're-
over.
you're-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
I've seen it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. that's a cool.
Nobody wants to sit next to that.
Feel your pain.
Great. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna switch this over and then we're gonna shuffle you around a little bit and then I'm gonna zoom you in and out based on what you're presenting.
Okay.
So just keep looking over at me and we'll keep trying to work together.
I'll be back every time I say.
Yeah, it is. Everybody, like I said, everybody, if we had a mirror to do it with, we'd be doing good. If you want to, guys, just want to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
While I have the gallery up, we can do that and then I'll switch over, to your offerings here.
Hi, my name is Charlie Green.
Norma Green.
John Green.
And I'm Jason Staubach with Staubach Architects.
Yeah. So hi, so thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. We're new into Mystic. We were lucky enough to purchase the bookstore at 4953. And we have what we think are some wonderful ideas, but we obviously want your feedback. We're a 127-year-old Connecticut born family business. I'm the 4th generation. I met my wife. She was the 3rd generation in her family jewelry and watch business. And this is our son who's the fifth generation. So we have 5 locations in Connecticut and Massachusetts. And we've been around for a while. And we're very lucky to start our journey, I'll say, in downtown Mystic. We're very excited, actually. This is a great opportunity, we think, for the next 100 years of our family business, because Charlie's going to be joined by his wife, who was born and raised in the jewelry business, and another one of our sons. So he's coming in the business. We were customers of the bookstore for a long time. And even just in the past week, and we're going over some of the ideas, and we're still in contact with the bookstore. We even might try to incorporate something within the store as a little reading room, to be in it, because we're really all about communities in the towns that we are. Our flagship is in West Hartford. We're very much part of the community in Westport, Connecticut, Glastonbury, Connecticut, and Wellesley, Massachusetts are our main stores. We have 4 kids and 8 grandkids, and Mystic has really been part of our lives. So I asked the question when we were here earlier, were you born and raised here? No, I know you was Long Island. No, you've been all over the place.
I was.
Born and raised here, so.
I would too.
You too. Mystic has been a big part of family trips with the aquariums and all sorts of things. And our family culture is really about community. And we know that actually that Groton and Groton Long Point, because we have so many customers already in our other stores, are really about community, which is one of the real appeals of being in front of you today. We've already started remediation because when we did all our investigating to purchase the building, we know with the gas station that was there was still a lot of problems, and we have aggressively gone to clean it up, and we're pretty close, I think.
Some great stories about the old gas station if you ever do some digging.
Yeah. Reef Environmental has been really good in helping us to get through this process. Jay's been our architect for about 15 years. For several of our stores. Also, not only do we like what he does always, but coming from Wethersfield and understanding historic districts and such, we think actually adds to our understanding of making sure that we're part of the community. And we also came to the zoning board as well. We just want to understand probably what we think you might be looking for and some of our ideas, because we want to make sure that we do it right. Not that you would let us not do it right, but we also don't want to here's our idea, and like, what the heck are you thinking? My wife has so many clients. She's been my partner for 45 years, as I said. We have so many customers down here, and I can't tell you how many people are excited about us. And we've had conversations with the other jewelers, including in town, because, we're not coming in here we're here to be part of the community, not to like, okay, Mr. Jewelry Store A, we don't want you here anymore. We always operate pretty well with our neighbors. So we think that's important. We also review the concepts with Bob Mercer, because we know he's done some things in the area, just to make sure we're on the right foot as we come to you for our ideas. And we look forward to your input. I mean, this is totally preliminary, but he's done a lot of work.
We've done a lot of homework.
He's done a lot of work.
But as John said, we do want to do it right. So we've had some preliminary conversations with the building department, fire marshal. We understand there's some FEMA concerns that we will need to address as we go forward. Even with the site plan, I think there's going to be some DOT concerns if we do anything with the hardscape. But we are looking at doing some proposed changes to the building, 49 and 53 West Main Street. So we wanted to go through our preliminary ideas, even though it looks pretty well developed. But I think our goal is really just like John was part of the community. We understand the historic nature of the downtown district and want to blend in harmoniously with the rest of the environment. So I think the other design challenges for any renovations that we do make to the 2 buildings are you know, one of our design goals, as well as blending in with the historic district, was to have a harmonious feel, with the kind of disparate parts of what's considered one property in one building. So.
And I would say that for the building that was the main part of the bookstore, the ceilings are about 8 feet, 7.5 feet.
Mhm.
For any retail environment in today's world, it's not harmonious to basically to feel good. It worked great in the bookstore because I never even noticed it until kind of as we were looking at the building going, gosh,
Right.
I don't know how we'd put lights in here.
So I do think there are lots,
Just-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, just so you all know, I mean, we're really concerned with historic structures.
Yes.
This is not that.
How old is,
So-
how old is the building?
The building has kind of a long history,
Interrupt.
so it is listed on the historic registry, but it is a non-contributing building. We've talked to the state office of historic preservation just about it, and I know it's not under their purview because it's not, it's privately funded, but we did want to have preliminary conversation for that. 49.
The brick part's older than the rest
It
of
is
it.
the oldest part,
yeah.
and we did kind of jumping ahead.
You want him in the middle?
I'm gonna.
We
I'm
want
gonna
the
switch
picture
this
in the
over,
middle.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
however we are able to make it all work, we will.
Just what I was gonna finish saying was,
sorry.
I just want to set the tone that we are definitely open, I would think, speaking for everyone, at least from my interpretation. And we have been open to other projects in the past of change and whatnot. So, I mean, I, for example, built and developed that big yellow building.
Yeah,
behind
I'll be right next to it.
So,
The big yellow building.
the big yellow.
It's a pretty yellow building.
I like it. So, but I just want you to know that
Okay.
don't feel like you have to present to us like you're begging, you're not, like, we're definitely open and.
Can I just weigh in real quick? I sat in on the preliminary meeting that we had with Deb and such. And we recommended that they come here first. Just because of the scale and scope of the project. Coupled with the fact that they have a lot of work to navigate with state DOT, the federal streetscape project that's going on there, our highway department, public works. So we just wanted them to have a grasp of where you guys were at for any changes that they may have to encounter later down the road.
Totally.
So that's why we had them come to
No,
you guys.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the
But
process.
Some hitching posts and troughs for the
Yeah.
horses.
Right, exactly.
Supply the horse.
I think the process is great. I think that they're here. I just wanted to make sure that they realize that we're open to
Sure.
change. And not,
Thank
you know,
you.
this isn't Charleston, South Carolina, where
Yeah.
everything's gotta be handmade. Like,
Yeah.
you can change. So.
In my opinion, you know, the bigger part of the building, I don't consider very historic. My sensitivity is the intersection. You're in one of the most prominent intersections in
Right.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
We
like one of the
We
first.
know that, and we think we have some great ideas to make it even more prominent.
There's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's,
So-
yeah.
And that's why we want to work together.
So anyways, that's. my-
Okay, so since we're here, we'll talk a little bit about the history of the site and. There we go, we get all this stored. Obviously, this is one of the earlier images, 1884, before the building was constructed, but you've got your horse trough, that is, you know, right over. Right here, so we're already addressing it. But then 1916, the sporting goods store was built, and you can see it was a single story. And then there is also the 2-story, what became the gas station, setback against it. So this picture is 1936, so I'm not sure when that piece of the building was built, but this is what is currently 49,
Mhm.
right? Building was then renovated in 1949 with the more modern sporting goods store that you see here. And then I think this 2-story with the windows stayed in its current state. And this is a picture, I know it's a little further away, till 1971. You can still see that
Bless you.
that facade is here. Some of the property records, it looked like they did that low 1-story wraparound addition in the early 70s, so 72. So just sort of kind of a historic.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think you guys do you want to see photographs of the existing building before, or you guys are pretty familiar with it?
Very.
So what we're proposing is still working with the existing footprint. We're from a use perspective, we want to maintain the same square footage. But from a retail perspective, we were looking at doing a new double height space into the building. And then keeping the 49 as still a two-story building, doing less renovation work to 49, although doing some facade work to try to make the whole thing work a little more harmoniously. It's gonna be like, you know, word of the day. Right into the elevation perspective. So again, we're looking at doing a new two-story space, picking up on a lot of the scale and proportions of what's on Main Street currently. We did like adding the gable roof here as it turns up Water Street, keeping it a little bit lower in that single family that might be on the, you know, in and around your building. There's a little bit more individual freestanding buildings. So wanted to have this one structure that had the gable end and then connecting that into 49. So primarily from 49's perspective, we're adding some more traditional elements. So the window opening stays the same as the original. We're adding that traditional signage band with a little bit of detail. And then looking to change the horizontal windows to something that's got a more vertical proportion, and then infilling that center glass with masonry. So it feels more like a punched opening building. And then that way we're carrying that same vocabulary through the other elements of the building. Maintaining the same head height, the same entablature over the retail, and then using again the similar one story as it wraps around up to Water Street.
Just now that I've seen that, do you have a picture of the current building? Just for, I know I've seen it a million times, but I just
It's a
want to.
good idea to break it up into components and
Okay. So the gable roof is going.
It would be right in basically on this corner
Okay,
interesting.
and then up here. I
okay,
didn't like extending this out and having this new pitched roof slam into
Sure.
the flat roof, so that's why I wanted.
I've
to-
learned a word called hyphen
Yes.
in the biz, so you got a hyphen between the two
Right,
major elements.
okay.
But that's still stepped back.
that is still set back, so
Okay.
we're maintaining the same plaza.
Okay,
same
perfect. Thank you.
footprint. Yeah, same footprint, so we're looking to build up on the existing foundation.
Okay.
just take that one?
Yeah.
Just so.
Yep.
If anyone wants to.
Yeah.
look at it.
No, I think it's a good,
Yeah, so this is the existing footprint, and then we're maintaining that
but
same.
it's
thing.
it's not projecting out. The gable end's not coming forward.
No, it stops right in the same thing.
Mm.
So we're maintaining the.
I'm sorry, it
plaza.
stops in the same place that the
The-
second floor
the
stops
lower-
down.
the lower
No,
level.
no, it comes
It
forward.
comes all the way forward.
Correct.
Comes forward.
Okay.
Yep,
That's why I'm glad.
But
I
yeah,
look at
it's
it.
coming out to where it is.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep, right.
And I'm sorry, can you go back to, so I can see how the old sporting goods store looks in your?
Yep.
So you're basically leaving that the same and changing the windows.
So we're leaving.
Upper and bottom windows out.
The openings stay the same, right? And then we're doing new storefront in the existing opening, adding the retail entablature with some gooseneck lights, and then infilling what's a horizontal window. Or at least feels like is a horizontal opening, and try to get it to be a little bit more proportional and more vertical proportion. to the
And
windows.
adding the nice corners. Looks like,
Yeah.
which will clean that up.
I think the gable end would be stronger if it was a little bit. There's some kind of differential between the hyphen and the,
So a little
the
bit
gable.
taller.
no, a little bit forward.
Forward.
That's
You
better
can't
for-
go more forward.
I mean, we were trying to maintain the same foundation,
Just,
but there's a possibility to
yeah,
give that.
Even
number.
4 inches or
Yeah.
8 inches.
Or go up a little, 6 inches or a foot. On the gable, just so it's a little different.
Yeah, that and I just projecting a little bit.
So basically from.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
3D view, if that helps. So this
Yeah.
is, again.
That helps a lot. I
Yeah,
guess.
the same line, right?
Oh, okay.
If you could make that gable up a foot, if you're allowed to, or maybe 2.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, from a zoning height perspective, we're fine. The only thing that I was a little worried about was making this too tall, because I did want to keep the head heights of the windows the same, so it didn't feel like we were jumping.
I don't
all
think
over.
very much, but some.
Just so
difference.
it breaks it up a little.
So get a little more between the.
Yeah.
height.
And were you gonna go with the red brick or more of the color brick we see in that,
The intent was to, because trying to match the brick on the new addition and match mortar and trying to make it look cohesive, we're gonna get a brick that's the same cut. And then do a lime wash over the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I know the brick is also not really traditional in the Mystic district. But I think the lime wash then brings it back a little bit from the harsher red brick, and feels more in line with what's in
I
it.
mean, there's enough, factory square and stuff around that's red brick and with the engine rooms, I don't think it's out of place, actually. It's just me, I like personally like the red, I think it looks a little more natural than.
Yep.
Yeah, that,
That-
that pinker like train station is like more of what we saw around here stacked on top of the granite foundations.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It was like it's like almost like a pinker brick.
Right.
But
Used it
the
a-
part of the problem is I'm trying to work with, we have the brick that's gonna
Without-
stay.
Right there,
in
yeah.
line. So if I go to a different color brick,
Yeah.
then I'm getting into that point of having, again, two different looks of the brick.
Just
So the white, the lime wash, the intent was to make it then feel consistent.
As one,
over
as
the
one
new brick.
bigger.
I'm just wondering, it's your project, your money, but
Yeah.
if that whole side there, where the, like right there is all that vinyl siding and everything, I don't think anyone knows what's under it, maybe
Yeah.
you do, but if you're gonna have to redo all that in brick and then do all that, you may just want to do a
It's the
thin,
brown brick.
just do a thin brick over it.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
And then just thin brick the whole thing, because you're not gonna do solid, you were planning on building on a solid.
No, I think the intent is to go with a thin brick.
Yeah.
So maybe just find a better brick if everyone's kind of opposed to the gray,
Yeah.
and then just carry it all the way across.
So my sensitivity when a new building goes in. That we try and make it look like it's been here a while.
Again,
Yeah.
trying to go that balance between making it look like it's been here a while and looking like it's something that.
Don't make it look
Right.
fake either.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
fake,
Right.
but not,
Right.
and that was like
Yeah.
it fell out of. Newport.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's,
That-
looking at some of the other buildings on the street, and I think that's how we came up with this color, because there's the one that's like the two colors, which is beautiful. Further down, I think it's one of the taller ones, closer to the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we were looking at all the different, and trying to make sure that we balanced everything, so it didn't look out of place, so that
Right.
it looked like, you said, it's been here for 100
I
years.
think we're just a little fearful because the guy who was in here with the Irish shop,
Yeah.
that was a red brick building that
Yeah.
was like built later, but then they whitewashed it.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks terrible.
Terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So that's your.
but I also
We're very
think.
subtle with our water.
Came at the wrong time.
But I also like, I respect the fact that, I mean, I've been to your Westport store, I've been to a couple of your stores,
Yeah.
like, you do a really nice job. So I
Thank
think
you.
whatever you design is probably gonna be great. It just may need to get tweaked a little bit,
Okay.
which is why this process
This
is.
is why we're here.
I mean, would it be possible for us to do a sample of the lime wash on brick? and
Sure.
see?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
But I think the big idea is breaking it up into multiple facades. And-
Right.
I've also been to enough of these meetings where people have like real heartaches over something, and I don't think you're getting a reaction of like, don't come back. You're getting a reaction of like, maybe let's talk about it a little.
Right,
It's just-
Tweak it here and there.
Yeah,
Yes.
better place.
Yeah.
So again, if I could just weigh in, I think their process between zoning and all the other approvals they have to get, they're gonna be going along for a while. I don't know if you guys have put any kind of time frame together. But as things develop, they can always come back and offer you guys some bits and pieces through the project as it goes along in this pre-application process before the whole final plan is put together.
I was gonna say your sign says opening in 26. Now I know why. You got a lot of.
Well, it's.
It was gonna
you
take
have to-
so long.
We weren't even gonna announce it until all these people on Facebook going, it's Lux Bonnet Green and they're moving in. We checked who the LLC is, so we're like,
How big are other stores? This seems like a lot of square footage.
6,000.
They
Yeah,
are
West
this big.
Hartford.
Okay,
We're working on expanding in our Westport store, so.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have 3,500 square foot of retail and then 1,000 each. Yeah, 1,500
Okay.
of back of house, storage and admin, and then the upstairs would be, office space.
Support, yeah.
Question more of as a resident than a Swim board, the, I guess you call it courtyard in front of that, does that belong to you guys or who? cares
Some
for
of
that?
it.
That's part of it. Is that part of the presentation too?
We do have,
Nice.
I'm sorry.
It's
Clips of
there's very little space in this.
So, I mean, obviously, we're looking to open up and get entry into the facade a little bit more. So we are looking to do some renovations to the hardscape and to the planting. So what we're looking at is maintaining the first curved planter that's along the streetscape with the memorial fountain.
Yeah.
And then redoing the one that's up against the building.
So the reason I ask, and again, this is as a resident, one thing I've always loved about that property is it's that one part of town where we can have a seat on maybe get a little
Yeah.
tired, the memorial fountain, it's like in the fall, kind of, hey, autumn's here because it gets decorated, and I was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
looking to maintain this and then redo the ones that are up against the building so we can get more retail exposure.
Okay.
We've got a bench that is here. We'll do the same granite with a small planter up against the building.
That's where the entrance currently is to go to the apartment.
Right.
Okay.
And then here, we're gonna introduce another one that's more in the shade, so we've got the multiple user experiences, either sun or shade. And then with a small planting between parking. So one of the things that we are looking to do is work on some of the hardscape, so with the granite pavers and clean up some of the concrete work. I think as you see, the scoring is a little all over the place and the driveway goes to asphalt. So we're looking at then for the driveway, doing granite pavers and then continuing clarifying.
Who utilizes that parking?
That is, we.
You will.
The owner,
Yeah.
the owner of the property.
Yeah.
Where's the whale?
The whale went away. They took it.
Took away. We,
Right, the whale.
we had some ideas, but we're not too sure.
The
whale went.
The whale belongs to the book.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they-
Oh,
And you
they
still,
took it.
and you
Oh, I
can't,
didn't
still
realize
can't
that.
sit on it.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't-
Yeah, it's over across from Big Y.
Okay, all right.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it
So,
looks good.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
other than
I like
the-
everything I,
except the
see
lime
except
wash.
for the lime wash, that's
Okay.
my,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that, my mind might change when I see it in person, but just the
Yeah.
picture, it's.
I personally am not getting the sense of like, you want like a red brick, you want something in the middle.
Yeah.
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 What that is, it's up to you.
And my only thing is, what you said, go up a little higher maybe,
change
and then
the height, yeah,
if
the
there's some kind of
definition.
projection you can get without. To differentiate the two.
I would might be able to just do it with, if we did something in the foundation of the curb.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would affect.
Something 8 inches would be
Yeah.
great.
Normally, I would definitely do that and separate the two plants, so we'll see.
I think it costing me money.
He's gonna come by.
I've been over here and you're sitting in your seat a few times.
So just one thing, if I can add, and I don't know if you guys have presented it all, but there is currently a residential unit there. And they're eliminating that. It's going away, which is not really anything
Don't
to
care.
do with you guys,
Like,
just
yeah,
make you
that
aware of
doesn't,
that.
that's not in our
That's right.
jurisdiction.
And then I did have a question with what you've presented and what we saw at the pre-app. In that little, the front area there, you showed one of the large type clocks.
Yeah.
Are you still, and I haven't seen that kind of in anything that you presented, and I just wanted to, if you're still considering that, have these guys see that and.
Sure, one, we could, because we see some of the signage, for you talking about, it's such a prominent corner. The Wayfair, right, if I'm saying it right, the Wayfair sign is
Is that right there?
is in here, and should it be somewhere else closer to the corner? I guess we were trying to make sure that we were on the right track for this, but we figured when we came back, we were gonna talk. One, there's some beautiful street clocks that would say downtown Mystic. Yes, it would say probably Lux Bonnet Green on it as well. We have one in West Hartford. We have one in where our original store is in Waterbury, Connecticut, going back to, turn of the last century. People write to us all the time how that adds to the streetscape. So that was one of our ideas as well, but I guess we were walking.
Yeah,
We
something
weren't-
like that would be great.
That would be
But
great.
they-
Because right now,
I love
we
it.
are showing
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
wall
when you
mounted
start towns,
clock.
we see a street.
No, I
clock.
think moving that signage is stupid.
Yeah.
And
It
should
it
get,
makes sense to be on the corner.
it makes no sense
It
where
does,
it is,
yeah.
and it's never made any sense,
Yeah.
but no one's ever listened to anyone.
Yeah. State of Connecticut?
I don't know who owns those. Those might be
that's-
state, those might be state. are they state signs?
DOT. Yeah.
I believe they're probably state, it's probably state DOT there.
Yes,
It is
Those
on,
are-
it is
that's
on.
my
DOT.
guess.
Those are both,
Yeah.
those are both state roads.
Right.
Yeah, but DOT didn't do that, because I remember when they were like proposing that, and it like came out when they were doing the streetscape, but like someone else
Why
funded
was
it.
It's
Chamber of
it's a
Commerce
federally
involved in
funded, it's a federally
Really?
funded, that's a federally funded streetscape right there.
There you go.
No, I know, but I thought
State
that,
highway.
I thought there was like some stuff, this was like 15 years ago, that was done by the Wayfair stuff was done by someone else.
Was it done by a different, I know, and they've also, the town has also. There's been an initiative to redo it townwide too, and I don't know where it's at. I don't have a concrete answer for you on that.
Well, I think DOT would be a starting point, but if you wanted to move it, at least personally, I don't.
I think it makes more sense, but
Fantastic.
never knew I was there. I agree with you.
The only thing I can think is it's if DOT would have some kind of sightline issue with it or something like that, which is not likely, but that would probably be the only thing that I would think that would be considered a part of your right of way permit or your.
Or just move
DOT
into the
permit,
garbage,
you'd
it's
have
really.
to- Encroachment.
But I think the straight opposite is no idea.
Are there concerns with the level of fenestration on the parking lot side? And I know it's.
No, not really. The only thing that looks at that is my office. So like, I'm not really that bothered by it.
Where am I here?
So this is the drone view from the back, so 49 is
That's
here.
You're right
in the
there.
This is
parking
the
lot.
parking lot. And right now, this is, it's a CMU with simple windows. I think from a safety and security perspective, we're gonna wanna minimize the number of windows. especially
Those
on the
windows
ground
from a
floor.
jewelry store and stuff, that's a real
interesting,
problem
yeah.
in today's.
Need liability insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the
I
question
think-
is, how much fenestration, are you guys gonna be looking for on these two kind of parking lot facades?
I think it'd be fantastic if you could screen some of the air conditioning, just not only for my benefit, but anyone's benefit, really. I
Which,
think,
we were planning on doing.
I think if you want to get rid of the windows, I think if you're gonna do a thin brick on the whole thing, maybe carrying it around. I know it's a little more money, but wouldn't be the worst thing. And I think unless you-
I mean, I think from an assembly, the masonry, it's just single white masonry, so we wanna add insulation, so we basically have to rebuild it anyway.
Yeah, so we're starting from scratch pretty much for
Yeah,
the.
so I think
that
the
part of
plan
building.
was to
Thin
flat
brick.
everything in the brick.
or
Yeah.
clapboard or whatever you want to do, just to make it not a masonry block thing would be
Mhm.
preferred. And I think it's totally reasonable to do a level of trim that's not the same as what your street facing is, but enough that it's gonna make it look a little
Yeah.
better. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was typical in like Victoria.
Right.
You guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there's just some other visibility from the parking lot and, further away, just so.
Hmm.
From on the wharf. I mean, it's probably a long view, but
Only because it is historic. And it's
What
kind
do
of
you
funny
own?
story, but
What do you
I-
own on the backside?
from a
Yeah,
site perspective
site
or building.
perspectives,
I
yeah.
think the lot line is basically.
it's
right
up
there.
against the back of in
Yeah.
the parking lot's a public lot.
Really quick, I'll just tell a story 'cause it's funny. I bought a historic home, a Victorian home to flip, and the front doorknob was this really nice brass doorknob. And as I got through the house, I realized the doorknobs were worse and worse. And I thought someone just came in and stole them all. I'm like, whatever, melted them down. But I realized after doing some research that they used to put the money where people saw it. So the entry door and the areas that were the spaces that were like open to the
They
public, where
downgraded
would-
from there.
Yeah, where people would come in, they'd receive you and you'd have your little lunch. Was always nice. And as you got farther back and especially into like the servants' quarters and stuff, they ended up being just like the little like white doorknobs. I thought I got robbed, but
My house has 1809 has a keeping room, which means I think people didn't go beyond the keeping room.
Well, in my old colonial, you had the regular boards in all the public areas.
Oh, yeah.
They had the king boards that they weren't allowed to have up in the private areas, so nobody would sit there were robbing the king's lumber.
so I think just a reasonable,
Yeah.
I think you get a sense of what we're looking for,
Yeah.
so.
So what other materials, when we start going through, the public hearings, I mean, I do have a window sample, shingle samples. do you want that level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I'm the stickler.
Okay.
That's like, I
I
wanna
haven't
know,
read
I
that
wanna
plan.
know.
Windows.
They're in the car.
The
They're right here.
materials list so
Yeah.
that we, you're not sneaking a vinyl window.
Yeah.
And,
No,
I'm not a kid.
We're not gonna sneak any.
Right, but
Marvin.
Sample,
Yeah.
sample of the thin brick,
Yeah.
whatever kind of trim material you plan on using AZAC or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And it's typical that, it's presented.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like a 1x4 AZAC or 1x4 Boral, we don't need a sample of that. You can just tell us, but
Yeah.
as long as you like list everything, like if it's a cedar clapboard,
Yeah.
we don't need a clapboard. But the stuff that's gonna make a difference that we wanna see, the brick, that would be helpful. The windows, don't bring a sample.
Okay.
It's just this.
That corner.
But as long as you can say Marvin, Ultimate Marvin, Elevate, whatever,
Yeah.
we're fine with
the
that.
spec sheets that,
Yeah.
those are perfect.
So the window order.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
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 Um,
That's what you want.
Yes.
I learned that at last meeting.
Oh, you watched this one, haven't you?
I would just say be more detailed than less detailed, but anything that's inside, we don't care at all about. So studs, lengths,
care,
anything. Yeah, I mean, we make.
Well,
He can.
His whole department.
Yeah.
We get that.
Um,
We don't.
But yeah, that's about it.
No, looks good.
Looks good.
It's a great
Gonna be nice.
transformation.
And
Yeah.
I was gonna
It's
say,
such
taking
an
a building that
important.
doesn't have a lot of historical value, in my opinion. Giving that corner a nice facelift.
Yeah.
so.
And like,
We think it's gonna go from now the bridge all the way down to the corner
Yeah.
where it really
The
wasn't doing
transition.
that at the end. So,
I think it's.
and that's,
gonna
you
look
said,
great.
it's kind of like the gateway from coming.
It is.
From down the hill.
And,
Oh.
and I live off
Right there.
of West Mystic Avenue, so I
Yeah.
go by there every day on the way to the
Yeah.
gym, so it's now definitely.
I do think though, you're gonna make a lot of friends by just screening that
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So,
That was already part of the plan, so that was, we
They-
didn't like the way it looked.
yeah, the old Densmore, they did a decent job of screening those ACs,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
That's it. No, I mean, I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
Honestly. So,
We're excited to be here.
Do you have
We were
any-
nervous about tonight too. Just so you know.
Oh, we get worse as you come back.
We always let you in easy and then you can tell by our,
We changed our
you can
mind.
tell by our
We changed our
personalities
mind.
how harsh we are.
How about that?
Ken Chmielewski. Do you remember Ken Chmielewski? He used to work for you guys.
Yeah, he was our manager in
Yeah.
our West Hartford store.
I only rejoined 2.5 years
Oh,
ago.
sorry.
Yeah.
This is our youngest. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he worked for us for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different.
Yeah. He's at
He's
the
in-
bank.
He's at Edward Jones. in
Edward, okay.
Deeper.
Yeah.
He'll remember everybody who's ever been a part of anything.
Kids or whatever. Yeah.
It's a good, have his business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Appreciate it.
coming tonight, guys.
You guys get to go to home early.
Might be a record.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
saw the big crowd there.
Oh, he got out of, giving his kids baths.
There you go.
I enjoy that.
Somebody else on. Let's see who joined today.
So I said there were 5 people online.
Bumped up to
Thank
7.
you.
Yeah.
Jean-Vive
Okay,
and Ian Thomas.
Doesn't look like it's anybody who was part of any application.
This is
No.
Ian-
Here's the window though.
Oh.
Heather Summers.
You did bring stuff. Great.
Marvin,
just, the only thing I will say is we can't take
Oh, that's it.
those, but just
Not that.
give a cut sheet in with the stuff,
Yes.
even if you got more.
Yeah, I don't know if you just wanted to see it, but I will get you the cut sheet. Or.
Yeah.
But don't bother bringing those back.
Not at all.
You were,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
how over prepared you are tonight, be over prepared the next time as well.
Any public communications? I don't know if anyone on there is for the public.
No hand raised.
empty audience.
Okay.
Can everybody online hear us okay? Okay, I didn't
Now
know
everybody's
if
gonna
they,
raise their hand.
I didn't know if they wanted to raise their hand, that's all.
I see no hands.
Okay.
Okay, the
Oh,
only
interest-
quasi-public communication I have is that Ted resigned shortly before this meeting. So he will not be here anymore.
Really?
Really?
Yes. I don't know why, but I got an email.
Oh,
So,
sorry to hear that.
so did anyone review the minutes to approve them?
I did not.
I did not. Should we hold it off to the next meeting?
Let's hold off to the next one. Hold off.
I wasn't, I kind of came in half late, so I'm not a good judge.
I'll read them since I led the meeting.
On the old business stuff, you have the edits.
The edits are with Rich. He's looking at them. We have tentatively planned to try to have a conversation by the end. We're out, we're not working on Friday, so by Thursday, if not Thursday, it's gonna be early next week. Regarding those, but yes, I have them and they've gone to Rich.
When you say have a conversation,
He's gonna look at all the edits
Uh-huh.
and then typically he'll call me and we'll look at some of them and have a
Okay.
conversation
Okay.
based on his
I
comments
just
and.
didn't know who the conversation was with.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I-
between him and I.
Good.
If there's anything that's controversial, which I think we're probably past that point, we may end up looping John Reiner in on anything that, but I don't know if it's gonna get to
Would
that or
Eric
not.
get looped in?
What's that?
Would Eric get looped in? at all?
Once he looks at them and has comments
Okay.
about them, yeah, then,
Okay.
yeah.
Any of his comments, I either accepted them and removed removed whatever we had suggested to accept his comment, or they were comments related to the overall structure of the handbook, which I just didn't address because I'm not going to address a handbook that was created 50 years ago and
Yeah. I
has
hear you.
lacked litigation on the fact that it may not be a concrete set of biblical rules.
Right.
So I just gave up on that argument. And then the only other thing was the thing that we discussed about the must or shall, which we took our stance on.
Right.
And then a few minor changes, which I don't think he's going to get involved in relative to like electric vehicle chargers and.
Yeah, like
stuff.
most of the stuff. The last time you took it, it looks like you really pared down a lot of stuff. And so.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's with him at the moment. Are we on old business?
Yeah.
Can I weigh in on a couple things?
Sure.
The structure over on Noink Road, that black roof thing that was built on the back. of
The
that,
lane two,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gone.
Oh.
It's gone, and I drove by there today, it's gone. So I've had some communications with One Noink Road. And,
Is that Peter Springsteel's?
No.
I'm sorry, One
One
Ashby,
Ashby.
my
Oh,
apologies.
okay.
One Ashby, the ongoing process there. The guy who was down in Florida, who we kind of postponed until April, I've had a couple conversations with him. And we've kind of come to, I've been kind of in negotiations with him about what he needs to do. I presented to him that he needs to come in front of you guys and have a complete package of what he plans on doing to the building. As far as siding, roofing, windows, trim, everything. And he agreed that that's probably the best approach. He is in communication with the crew that just did Leo Roach's building down in the corner. The new seafood place, the old Young Bun building. He is negotiating a contract with those guys to do the outside of the building. They're probably going to encapsulate the asbestos and do hardy plank on the whole building with wood trim around the windows and doors.
You can't do that.
What's that?
You can't put hardy plank over the asbestos because you end up nailing through it.
No, he's gonna put fern strips up.
That he's going to nail through the
Yeah.
asbestos.
Yeah, they do it all the time. They screw right through them. They screw
How's it
right
gonna
through
set the trim back though? We'll have to see his presentation.
Yeah, yeah. The crew that did Leo's said that they don't have a problem with the methods. I've seen guys apply fern strips all the time and go
It's an
over.
OSHA violation.
What's that?
It's an OSHA violation.
It's an OSHA violation?
Yeah.
What, to encapsulate it?
You can't screw through the asbestos because you can't make it friable. That was in the 30-hour OSHA course.
Yeah.
Major no.
I've seen people do it all the time.
I know. I see
I
people
mean, they
jump.
don't even issue permits for the removal of this stuff anymore. Yeah, I know.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, this was
Yeah.
this was his idea for it. I did explain to him that you guys had apprehensions about the grills between the glass. And as an option, he offered to replace all the road facing windows with a simulated divided light if you would allow him to keep the sides and the back with the grills between the glass. So I told him that's something I would present to you guys as a consideration.
That's a slippery slope when you start allowing something.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, I'm not gonna comment until he's here. I think kind of sidebar conversation point's not where I want to go with it. That's just me personally, but I was agree it's a slippery slope. That's just John's opinion though, for what that's worth.
Are the sides and the back
The
visible
asbestos
by
issue is
the,
interesting.
visible by
Can't
the
do it.
public right away? Or public?
Yeah, they're somewhat visible.
Just tear it off.
Probably not as prominent. I think the most
Yeah.
prominent windows
Get it-
are the ones over the
Yeah.
porch. The ones under the porch are somewhat shaded and a little bit obscure, but the ones over the porch are very visible.
This, and just so I'm confirming, this is the cease and desist.
Correct.
Okay.
I think we gotta see the presentation. I
Yeah.
think, I think the questions that you're raising are reasonable questions. I think that depending on what his decision is to do with the siding and how he plans on doing that, I would just pay careful attention to the way he's gonna retrim it and whatnot. Cause you could end up with this like bulbous looking house with like really weird, deep extension.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want the siding projecting beyond the window trim,
Right,
that type
right,
of stuff you have to be
right.
careful on.
Right.
I agree in that.
Yeah.
But that's what was negotiated in an effort to try to,
Get him
yeah,
here.
without, get lawyers and everybody else involved on it.
Well, the fact that he's coming back is a step in the right direction by
Mhm.
itself. We can take it from there once he presents.
I think it's the best way to go. Let him come in like any applicant. Let's
Yeah.
look at it. and-
Exactly.
We may have him come in as a pre-app,
As a pre-app.
Pre-app,
Yeah,
yeah,
have a
definitely.
discussion.
Yep.
Okay. And I can relate to him that you are not in complete opposition to the plan I just presented. That there you'll consider it, or it's not a dead no.
I'm interested to know about the code. And asbestos.
Well, if it's an OSHA violation, it's not really a review. He's gonna deal with it.
But it's still be interesting to know. For us to know.
It was in the 30-hour. Cause it's all about mitigating the risk to the worker, so. I guess you could do it if you did it proper, if you had a proper setup and everything, like with like. The dust collection systems and
Yeah.
everything, you need like you're supposed to use like the screw guns that have like the caps on them. Suck it in, it's a real pain. That's why no one does it, they just rip it off.
Right, ripped off.
Well, I talked to him
Might be
about
easier.
ripping it off, but then if he rips that off, then he has the old clapboard shakes underneath it, and you have to rip that off. And now you're really starting to get into. Kind of a deep dive on the building, bringing it back that far.
I just wonder though, if putting a third layer of siding on top of the building is gonna look
Yep.
stupid.
Right.
It's gonna be projecting beyond the.
You have to
It really
retrim it.
depends on how you did it, how you set it up, corner boards and all the other stuff, I guess.
I don't
Windows
think
would be
there's
something, it
gutters
almost seems
either
like.
on that house.
What's that?
There's no gutters, I don't think, on that house either. Like the wall and like, it looks like a Monopoly house, where so if they project the
There's no
siding
soffit?
out. Yeah,
Right.
there's no soffit, so they're gonna have to
Yeah,
extend the roof. I'm just curious to
He
see
is
what,
he is
what his
planning on
plans.
putting a roof on too.
Yeah, that's good.
I would just. Be really careful, cause you could end up with something,
Yeah.
like at the end, so.
Be good if he had an architecture
Yeah.
rendering. That would be valuable.
I love that structure. There's something about it. There's like nice symmetry to the house. It's very prominent, kind of sits up on the wall.
Important.
So, yeah,
Yes.
it's,
I just would encourage you all to also. Conscious of the decisions on like the vinyl windows and grill between the glass.
Yeah, no.
It's just something,
It opens Pandora's box, I
Right.
think, if we're not careful.
yeah. Personally, I don't think they have a place anywhere in the district. But maybe in someone's shed, like deep in their backyard. But that's my opinion.
or the bar windows on Oyster Club.
And those grills between glass.
Yeah.
That was before me.
Yeah.
I would have.
Borrow-
That's probably that's what's called. No.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Do
All
we,
right.
what do we do about our attendees? I'm just,
I think if they want to
Probably
continue,
they're
raise their
watching.
hand.
they're just.
I haven't seen
Okay.
anybody that wanted to weigh in. One bounced out.
Okay, again, I just want to be respectful.
Yeah.
If they want to say something.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a curveball into next meeting on. Make a motion to add election of officers to the new business agenda. So I need a second.
Goodrich second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Goodman,
Ernst, aye.
Ferguson, I.
Goodrich, aye.
Fuller, aye.
Great, now we can talk about it. Technically, according to the FOIA, I don't know, crap. Anyways, so at 5:30 tonight, there was a personnel and appointments committee meeting. And for like 2 years, I've been trying to fight to get John on this from a regular, I'm sorry to throw you under the bus because you didn't know that this was gonna happen. From an alternate to a regular member, and tonight they decided to vote that they were not gonna move him forward because he doesn't, in quotes, listen to the town attorney. Now, since I've been on this commission, there has never been a time when the town attorney has rendered an opinion, and John has purposely and intentionally taken an action against the town attorney. The other thing I think too is that this is America and you have a right to freedom of speech and you have a right to question authority and you have a right to question attorneys. They are not all accurate. They are not all correct all the time. They are not honest. I hate attorneys. I went to law school.
I'm glad I didn't know my attorney very well.
Yeah, so that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with anyone in this commission questioning anything, as long as they do it in a respectful and reasonable way. And they don't have to agree. That's democracy, period. But continuing to put him in a position where he's not going to be able to be moved up, even though he has the credentials, and I've recommended him now 4 or 5 times, I think is absolutely disgusting. I also think that based upon everything that's been going on recently, which unfortunately I've been dragged into, I am done. So I'm going to resign at the end of tonight. But before I resign, I would like to make a motion for Bill to be chairman. So I make a motion for Bill Ferguson to take over as chairman.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Ernst, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Ferguson, I.
The only thing I don't love is that, can we have commentary that can come later?
Goodrich, aye.
Fuller, aye.
So, Bill, you are now in charge. That's when I get out of here, I'm gonna send the email off. I thank you. It's been 6 years. I've done my service.
You have done your service.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go focus on my projects and everything else. I am so done with this.
So I'd like to make a second motion. We'll need a vice chair. I'd like to make Mr. Ernst our vice chair. If I can get a second.
That means you need a new secretary, so.
Well, we don't have anybody else that's a permanent member right now, so I'll have to wait, but I think a vice chair. Would you mind doing both jobs? Being the clerk and the vice chair?
I am no
It's
longer,
like speed dating. here.
I am no longer chairman, but, you
You're chairman till this meeting's over.
Yeah.
well, then you should probably just get some more people on as regular members and then revote everyone.
Okay,
Can I?
I'm just thinking in case Bill gets sick at the next meeting, there needs that's where my mind was going.
I think the natural progression would be the secretary would sit.
Okay.
And I'm still learning.
Can I ask about, just out of ignorance about the status of these guys? Can they? Can I name them permanent? I mean, no, the town council has to name them.
So
The council.
They would have to go through the same process as everybody else,
Okay.
put themselves in as a candidate, be
Okay,
considered under the personnel subcommittee,
okay.
and then go to the council.
Well, and I'd like to make a comment on that too, if I may, if that's okay, if I have everybody's permission. So I just emailed everybody except you, because I didn't have your email. Something, so it's something that came up in P and ZC. Deb Jones has a copy of it. John Burke has a copy of it. What concerns me is I got a copy of it from a resident that's aware of it. Sorry, I'm trying to choose my words very carefully here. You know, one of the things they said about me that I couldn't become a member, like you said, 'cause I put the town in liability, which, problem with that is when you have a land use committee like PZ&C, what they've done with Jeff Pritchard and Kevin Smith.
I'm sorry to cut you off. They did not say that you put the town at liability. They said that you, by not listening to the attorney, you could. put the
Could,
town in
thank
a
you,
position.
sorry. Yes,
Which is
correct.
one of the other reasons I wanted to add it, which I find ridiculous, because in the law, If there's an issue, it has to be right. Just because you could, shoulda, woulda.
Right.
Anyone can go out and commit a murder. Until you commit a murder, or make the intent to commit a murder.
Can I ask for clarification on it? Did you say that this statement was made at a planning and zoning meeting with Deb Jones present? Or are you saying it's
No,
part of the
what I
personnel
just
subcommittee?
emailed everybody, I'm sorry, so let me get to that.
Okay.
It was, so with the. And choose my words carefully here, with the interesting voting that happened and, removal and then unremoval of their chairperson. Lauren Gothier did some legal research. And planning and zoning has it, Deb Jones has it, that's why I'm putting that out there, but there is some significant case law on this in Connecticut, where when you have a land use committee where violations have been happening the way the committee's put together.
Yeah, I think.
I'm just going somewhere, I have the right to say this, I think, and you can cut me off if I don't. We may just be in a situation, I'm not a lawyer, I sent everybody the case law for them to read, make their own decisions on. It's FOIable to the public now, because we've discussed it. Just be careful, because I have a resident that brought this to my attention that is probably planning on using it again for this commission. Just so we're all aware, and then I'm done.
I just like to add that from a staff perspective, we have no input on who gets appointed. We're not asked information about any candidates, and we
Sorry.
provide no information about candidates.
And on that note, I will say that I think as things have been contentious at times, the reality is that I think that you have handled it professionally, Tom has handled it professionally. And I think that, and Susan too, the other two gentlemen who I just don't know their names, haven't been here long enough
Jane
to be involved in it. But I think as it has been contentious and it's been difficult at times, but that's democracy. And I think it's been fair in the end, and we've listened to your advice when we wanted to listen to it. We didn't when we didn't. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
And I don't think that anyone, including myself at all, is pointing any fault at the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, and mine, all I was saying is that Deb Jones has this from a different, I was not putting anything on town staff, so my words are not clear, I apologize. I would say this is new information to the town. This has come up in
Thank
other
you.
areas.
The last thing I'll just say is I think, as you all know, like these are volunteer positions. It's hard to get people on them. It's hard to get qualified people on them, and people that are willing to like give their time and that have the credentials that need to be on these commissions. It's important to have them. Because you have a personal grievance or animus or whatever the choice is to drag that into this or into any commission for that matter, like I just think has no place in today's society, That's all I have.
Lance, are you done?
I'm done.
All right, so
I have one. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, before you, I have.
so I'm just from a selfish point of view, since I feel like Abraham Lincoln going to a theater. What can, I mean, I'm not showing bias, I don't think, by saying this. What can I do to get them to become permanent members and not alternate members? Is there, again, I want to follow a process, and my question is out of ignorance. I understand that it's the town council eventually makes that decision. Do they have to?
They
One of them
would
just asked for it.
present a letter of interest and get support from anybody that they would get it from,
Okay.
including the chair or acting chair of this board or any board.
Okay.
Would
Or
there
any
be
member.
the interview that I just went through not long ago?
So, and I'm gonna put this out there just so
No.
everybody is clear, and I've not made a decision on how I'm gonna deal with this yet. The town charter is clear as the senior alternate. If I ask for it, I'm supposed to get it.
Right.
And if that doesn't happen, we have another issue.
Right.
Now, there's also rules that they voted, they can't re-vote on me for a year. So it's a very complex situation. At the end of the day, I'll say this, I care about our town, and I think all three of you guys are incredible and you're great for the board. So do I think I'll do that? Most likely not. I'm just saying that is one of the rules. And I mean, I think you're all great. I think you guys are would be
Yeah.
great contribution to the board. I mean, again, my opinion, my commission expires in December, and I think they're just gonna make sure I don't get back on. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And I don't wanna hurt the town or you guys or the commission, but just, know, that isn't a rule out
Yeah.
there, I'll
And,
enact, they're not even decided yet.
And I think you all know me very well, that I'm a rule follower, and I just want to know. I'm
What
not
the
gonna
process-
tell you what to do, but I will strongly encourage you. Just because of the sheer numbers of, on this group, obviously, if you stay alternates, I can name you. Sitting, but I would just, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, I'm just gonna say, my opinion is if
I
you
think
could
the-
become sitting.
I
That
think
would
the
be
tough
helpful.
thing is
That's
that
all.
it seems like. It seems like the town council has taken a position that. Promoting development. You know, is something that they're pushing for, and that if you. At all stand in that way, they're going to. Push against you, which is funny because I'm a real estate developer and I'm also on this commission, so, But I think that you have a duty and obligation to follow the handbook and the rules that was created long before I was even born, so. You know. I think it's really great that you guys have taken the interest to care about the community, because I grew up here, and I love it here, get back here. But when you lose these things due to demolition and whatever, or demolition by neglect or whatever it is, you're never gonna get it back. So. I think change is great. I think what these guys are proposing is fantastic. You know, I
It's a
had,
big improvement.
yeah, I think that there's ways to improve things and to do it right. I think that you just need to be careful and you need to remember, like, the minute you say yes to something, it's gone. You're never gonna get it back, and you can't force someone to bring it back. So being careful and conscious of decisions, especially when it's something that's technical and whatever, to not end up in situations where you feel afterwards that, oops, you know, I shouldn't have made that decision. It's important. So that's my,
Can I just bounce off of that?
Sure.
The reason they were here tonight is. I strongly recommended to them to come in front of you guys, because I had no idea how this was gonna be received. I didn't know if your position was going to be from a preservation standpoint on that building, or if this new structure was gonna be embraced. And it was. It was. Kind of, I was okay with that. It was kind of a good, I think it was a good thing that. Both of those things are factors in what you guys are dealing with. I was actually surprised by your take on it tonight. I really thought that there was going to be a little more objection to losing. A building like that down there, but I was pleased to see it because it moves the area forward. These guys are responsible developers. I really feel they're gonna be great community members. But yeah, so that was.
I think what they presented was an improvement over what was there today.
Yeah.
Because it was like cobbled
But
up.
I also, in sitting and watching you guys, I also understand that there is a. A percentage of preservation that you guys want. You guys want to keep character. And not only just. Historic building, but mystic character. Things that are iconic to Mystic. I've seen you guys look at things like, you know, from that perspective. And that was why I strongly encourage them to come as early as they are here in their process to come do a pre-app. with you guys.
Well, and I'm gonna say, Councilman Benny says it, that's what I love about this commission. You know, you have Eric and I who grew up here. I mean, my dad, who's 90, can tell you stories about the gas stations there and the characters he used to hang out with.
I learned that today. I didn't know
And
that.
I bought it from, my house is Wally's house.
Right,
Who's
but
the
you know,
gas
for some of you
station owner?
guys that, and we're all president council, you guys that are newer, you bring a fresher perspective, so it's. Unlike certain commissions, which may be very singly minded, what I like about ours is theirs is that difference, and I think that does help. Our town, because we have those different perspectives.
I would like to say that I'm sad you're leaving. I've been enjoying learning the last 6 meetings. I think you've done a good job of running these meetings, and your perspective will be missed.
yeah, I appreciate that.
How long has it been?
6
6 years?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, I got on it thinking I was gonna be on it for a year.
Right.
That was it. Kevin Quinn, who was the building official when I moved back, suggested I do it. I did it and I found it interesting. You know, we've had a lot of ups and downs, that's for sure. So, I can't sit there and watch that anymore, you know? It's not productive for the town. It's not productive for the commission, and You know,
He's been going longer than 6 years.
Well. So it's the only thing I want to say, guys,
Yeah.
just so you know about.
I've been here 18 months. Peter did 5 years and Peter replaced him.
Kevin left shortly after I got on the commission, maybe 6 months after.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he was, when I started building the standard in 2020, he was gone. He was already over to
Who
Groton.
was Kevin?
He was like the building official for 20 years,
Yeah,
maybe.
24, 28 years, I think it was.
Still learning.
He lives up in like the Ocean View neighborhood, but
Okay,
I think a lot of his family lives here too. Just a well-known local
sure,
guy.
sure.
So, but he was like a mentor to me when we started.
Hmm.
He's the one that told me to, I said to him, I was like, should I quit my job in Boston and move down? He was the one that was like, yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. I'm glad I
You
listened
did,
to
you
him.
did.
Yeah. So he introduced us to SIFT, to Adam.
Yeah.
That was our first big job, which now I'm like, that was big.
Now there's lines going up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean,
Still
interrupt
never
you.
lost the 10
Thought.
pounds that I gained when I built that place, but that's okay.
Appreciate that.
But no, like I said, I think you guys are great. I think you're gonna do a good job. Just be aware of it. All, you know,
And
stand up for what you believe in.
that's the last thing I want to say. My decision, what I'm gonna do moving forward. This was my opinion. And what really kind of upsets me is it seems with the town council. If you oppose them, they will target you. And I feel that with me, I feel that with your people in planning and zoning. And that's not right. You know what? We should be able to disagree. But at the end, they were all residents of this town. And I should be able to, if I not, don't, in a fair, respectful, way, disagree. I'm really gonna limit prices. I shouldn't, but it seems happening in Washington DC, happening in our town right now. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Mm.
And I'm done. I'm sorry, I probably said too much.
The only one that's gonna be ticked about this thing is my dog, because every time she jumps on a little wall and gets a treat. It's gonna be bad. She is going to be bummed.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if the walls are gonna end up thrown away.
well, if it does,
That's
so
gonna be
Lay will
the
be.
Big
really
strong
upset.
thing to navigate.
I'll bring her more treats.
Federal funding, yeah, provided there.
It's your wall. Can you rip it down?
Which one is, what are you talking about?
The inside one.
This one,
That's on there.
closest to the building.
That's
That's
their
on their
property.
property,
Is it on there?
Yeah.
I know,
not the outside.
I know a bunch of it was, there's. Some of it, what they were talking about, it was federally funded. So they have to maneuver. Figure out
The outside.
what they can do to it.
The
Is it
outside,
just the outside, I
yeah.
thought it was the outside and the inside that.
I think they're
Funded
just
it.
getting rid of the inside wall.
Anyway, we'll let them figure that out. That's
You guys get to deal with that. On that note,
Okay, well, I signed one of these.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Sure.
I do want to talk to Sophia. I haven't